Grand rising, grand arrival, grand return. Peace and blessings to the righteous and the repentant alike. My incense, it's already gone out. I am Chief Sophia of the Americana Band of Indians, and this is going to be a video about what we were right about. This is not from a position of, oh, I have to gloat that I was right. Because it's not gloating. Nobody would give the credit for this where it belongs. And therefore, the people over here, the people on this channel who have followed me, people who just showed up, and the people who have left the channel deserve to know the truth about what happened. Now, I lit this thing with nowhere to put it. Oh, here it is. Earlier today, it was brought to my awareness that one of the things that we asked for right near the start of this channel was actually granted immediately. This would be when we canceled the Dum Diversas contract. That was, we started a fast on February the 2nd. I did a video about that. The Groundhog Day fast, right? To get out of the circle, to get out of Groundhog Day, to stop doom looping, right? I didn't even have that term at the time. We just knew that things kept going round and round and round in circles, and nobody knew why, and nobody was really doing anything about it besides canceling, certain things, right burner releases on certain things, but not a comprehensive plan to get the job done. Everybody was just doing their little piece here and their little piece there. That's fine, but none of them understood the problem. They didn't actually sit back and observe the problem. Again, too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So let's go back to December of 2022, when first we closed Solomon's temple, because it came to my awareness, to my spirit, that our energy was being harvested for these Levitical priesthood, Melchizedek priesthood, wicked men in across the Hebrew Israelite pantheon and elsewhere. They were harvesting the energy of our women in an attempt to prevent us from gaining the power that they used us to get the power back with. Back in August, the 40-day fast that I called then was usurped, because it was 100% obvious that I called the fast. Okay? I did. And then it was co-opted. And me being a feminine energy, I said, okay, well, we'll just put it together. Unnecessary. Okay? That culminated with the death of the queen. (996) 2022. 996. Okay? Then we closed the Temple of Solomon in Haiti or wherever it is. We closed it. It might be in the south of France now that I'm thinking about it. But we closed it and said, no, we're the daughters of Zion. We're the ones who are entitled to that space, not you. And therefore it's closed until we can figure out how to use the power. Next, canceled the Dum Diversas. We canceled the Willie Lynch letter. And if you notice, you don't have as many men and women fighting. They're trying everything they can to get our men and our women fighting. I don't see it. It's worked every other time. 3 years into this being canceled, I do not see our men and women fighting the way they used to. I've been on Black Twitter since 2009. I've been on Twitter since 2009. I have not seen fighting like I usually do. People are coming on both sides and saying, you guys are ridiculous. Can we have some new topics? Can we talk about some new stuff? I saw somebody say today, why are women who agree with men pygmies? Whoa. These people are being called out. They're being called out for their behavior. Their behavior is not being allowed to stand. What's that? We canceled the Willie Lynch letter. You're not going to pit our men against our women. You're not going to do these embarrassment rituals on our women or our men in order to get us to act crazy. Not happening. And it's not. We canceled the Masonic Creed. Boom. Their little secret whatever stuff failed. We canceled the Haitian independence document. Why? It was doing nothing but creating fighting of brother against brother within that land forever. Canceled. January the 1st, 2023. Canceled. Are they fighting? Yes. But guess what? Certain people are taking over quietly and removing certain people who do certain things that they're not supposed to do. I see it in the news all the time now. I don't even comment on it anymore. Then we canceled the Dum Diversas. Before 30 days was up, we canceled that on March the 7th, 2023. Before 30 days was up, the Vatican capitulated. Let me read you some of the article. Vatican repudiates doctrine of discovery, which was used to justify colonialism. March 30th, 2023. Nearly 500 years after papal decrees were used to rationalize Europe's colonial conquest, the Vatican repudiated those decrees on Thursday, saying the doctrine of discovery that was used to justify snuffing out indigenous peoples' culture and livelihoods is not part of the Catholic faith. The doctrine was invoked as a legal and religious standing by Europeans who, quote unquote, discovered new lands and violently seized it from people who had been living there for generations. It has been cited in different arenas for centuries, including by the U.S. Supreme Court as early as 1823 and as recently as 2005. That's when our new cycle started. Zolkin cycle. Our new 52-year Zolkin cycle started in 2005. The statement repudiates the very mindset and worldview that gave rise to the original papal bulls. The Reverend David McCullum, executive director of the Program for Discerning Leadership based in Rome, told NPR. It renounces the mindset of cultural or racial superiority, which allowed for the objectification or subjugation of people, and strongly condemns any attitudes or actions that threaten or damage the dignity of a human person. Here's a brief guide to the discovery doctrine and why the Vatican's move is historic. The doctrine came from papal bulls in the 15th century. The doctrine was laid out in a series of papal bulls or decrees, which we canceled. The first one was issued in 1452, the Dum Diversas. They authorized colonial powers such as Spain and Portugal to seize lands and subjugate people in Africa and the quote-unquote New World as long as people on the lands were not Christians. And just not any Christians. Remember, they were not Roman Christians. They were not under the rule of the papacy. We were Christians here. We weren't those kind of Christians. Scholars widely note 3 bulls: Pope Nicholas the Fifth's Dum Diversas in 1452 and Romanus Pontifex in 1455, and Pope Alexander VI inter Catarea in 1493. Later popes revoked the decrees, but the damage was done. The papal bulls were not considered valid just 30 or 40 years after they were first issued. They were, in fact, abrogated legally and nullified by the Vatican in the late 1530s. The Vatican's nullification was too late to stop the destructive impact of colonialism, McCallum said, noting that the European expansion was fueled by a sort of missionary sense that the Western monarchies had a right to go to these new lands and take from them their resources and, if necessary, to put down people, including enslaving them. The doctrine made its way into the U.S. legal system. Oh, back in the 19th century, this was the 1800s. It was used as a precedent which gave people a sense of title, a sense of title to the land that had not been owned with an official title indeed. Because how can you own the land? That is our Father. You can't own the Creator. Are you nuts? You're a custodian. You're an observer. You're a watcher. You can't own land. Are you people crazy? So what began as a religious decree in the 1400s then became the basis for a legal concept in the U.S. when the doctrine of discovery was invoked in an 1823 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that indigenous people had only rights of occupancy, not ownership, over lands they had long lived on. The land then was open for the taking. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't open for the taking. But they took it anyway. But it wasn't open for the taking just because the Supreme Court said it was. Not how it works. It don't work like that. As a result of this being written into American property law, it was actually considered a precedent, McCallum said, including citations as recent as a 2005 case in upstate New York involving the Oneida Indian Nation. Indigenous groups have long sought the repudiation. Indigenous advocates have previously called on the Catholic Church to issue a formal repudiation of the doctrine, saying personal apologies fell short given the magnitude of the policy's effects. Last year, the Pope stunned observers when he personally apologized to Taylor Ben Sakova, a $5 Indian, a youth delegate with the Assembly of First Nations who lives in British Columbia, for the Catholic Church role contributing to years of suffering. Ben Sakova sounds even like welcomed the Pope's action, but she also noted the irreparable harm done to her culture by centuries of subjugation and to families like her own by decades of forced assimilation, and she called on Francis to denounce the doctrine of discovery. Months later, the Pope apologized to indigenous people for this. No, he apologized to the $5 Indians. He did not apologize to the indigenous people. He apologized to the $5 Indians, okay? For the systemic abuse inflicted upon Native children at Catholic-run residential schools, but he stopped short of formally rescinding the doctrine. What did the Vatican say about the doctrine? Invoking the Christian mandate to respect the dignity of every human being, the Vatican said on Thursday, the Catholic Church therefore repudiates those concepts that fail to recognize the inherent human rights of indigenous peoples, including what has become known as the legal and political doctrine of discovery. The Church also said it stands with indigenous peoples now and strongly supports the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, which it says can help protect indigenous rights as well as improving living conditions and development in a way that respects their identity, language, and culture. Except the Negroes. No. $5 Indians are covered under this. We're not covered under this. They're not talking about us. They're talking about the $5 ones. The civilized tribes that also held slaves. They're not talking about us. But it's not up to them It's not up to them. It's not up to them. The Vatican also invoked the Pope's words from his visit to Canada last year. Never again can the Christian community allow itself to be infected by the idea that one culture is superior to others, or that is legitimate to employ ways of coercing others. Priests welcomed the Vatican statement. What was significant today is the way that the statement repudiates the very mindsets and worldview that gave rise to the original papal bulls, McCallum said. It renounces the mindset of cultural or racial superiority, which has allowed for the objectification or subjugation of people, and strongly condemns any attitudes or actions that threaten or damage the dignity of the human person. Bishop Douglas Lucia of the Diocese of Syracuse, New York, said he believes the statement will lead to more dialogue, except it didn't. They never talked to us about it. They didn't even tell us. They put, oh, well, we'll put it on NPR and one of them will figure it out. When has anybody ever mentioned this? The call to walk side by side is especially poignant in this land of Onondaga and the Haudenosaunee, where there exists two-row wampum. Lucia told NPR via email. Is a 1613 agreement of how the Haudenosaunee would treat new settlers in their land based on friendship, peace, and forever. New settlers on their land based on friendship, peace, and forever. With the Vatican taking a formal stance, Lucia added, the Christian community can acknowledge its own failings and work with indigenous people to embody the 1613 agreement. This happened. This was issued days after we canceled the Dum Diversas. The Vatican responded. All the people who thought I was crazy, I had no proof. Why me? Why would the Creator respond to me? He did. Nobody else was canceling contracts like this. People was only worried about themselves. They set up a toll booth to collect money for themselves so that they could get where they wanted to be. And I sacrificed everything. I put it all on the line, on the internet, with no proof that it had even worked until today. I was right. We were right. We were right. Now, what happened after that? Why didn't things change? Well, I'll tell you. Like I said, they have been LARPing in our energy. And you know how they did it? They changed our frequency. When they changed the frequency of the music, they changed our frequency. And so it appeared as if we were doing fine because they were in our frequency. They lowered our frequency to their frequency. And so when they did the scan of the planet, now remember all these people talking about, oh, you got this one doing a scan and that one doing a scan and the orbs are scanning, right? They're scanning the planet. They look like us. Because why? All of our frequencies are out of whack. Nobody, even to this day, is doing anything about moving people's frequency right to the back to the correct frequency. We're working on that. That's something we're working on actively to help people put their frequency in the right frequency. But one thing I will say, stop listening to all those frequencies. They're not in the right key. That is guaranteeing you will resonate at these people's frequency. Guaranteed. When I listen to the correct frequency, oh my gosh, crown chakra opened immediately. Kundalini activation immediately. When you listen to the right frequencies. But if you're listening to all these people frequencies out here who don't know anything about music, who know nothing about natural music, you are opening yourself up to something that you don't understand. Because you don't understand it either. I do. I'm a musician. I know all about tones and frequencies. I know a lot about it because I only listen to live music. Usually I have the go-go playing. These mofos done destroyed my iPad, so I only have one device. I have no way to play music. But that's why I always played go-go. These are live instruments. They're naturally going to retune to the proper frequency. I've been saying that. But no one seems to think I know what I'm talking about. Well, guess what? We canceled the Dum Diversas. All of y'all was a witness to that. You've been a witness to what happened to me over the last 2.5 years since that day, literally, that the thing was done, and what I've been through and the trauma that I've been through. You all was a witness. And I find out the Creator answered us right away. Immediately. It didn't take 30 days. He responded. He forced them to respond in 20 days, 23 days, 24 days. It didn't take 30 days. But see, you got to give the Creator 30 days for some things, and for other things you don't. That was a 30-day one. And the Vatican responded in 30 days. So, all I'm saying is, I was right. Everything that I said has been correct. Guess what else I was right about? You know, in 2023, I said the 49ers were supposed to win the Super Bowl. Guess what's coming out now? First of all, guess who lost a child? Poor lost child. You know, Lord have mercy on her soul. In that accident, freak accident, weather emergency in Texas. Oh, one of the coaches from the 49ers. Now, I'm hearing the 49ers are under investigation for cheating. Because guess what I said in 2023? Not the 49ers, the Chiefs. I said the 49ers were supposed to win because 49 represents gold. They're talking about the gold rush. 4 and 9 is 13. That's the daughters. And you know, let me go back to the Chiefs before I say this. The Chiefs were not even supposed to be in that Super Bowl in 2023. It was supposed to be the Naga Bowl. It was supposed to be the Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens. That's what it was supposed to be. Instead, they put in the 49ers versus the Chiefs. Not what it was supposed to be. Because a player for the 49ers had just come from the Redskins. Former Redskins. The Redskins. I don't they mama named them Redskins. I'm gonna call them Redskins, okay? So they wanted that energy in that Super Bowl so it could be defeated. That was a personal jab at me. I'm from that area. Who else is from that area that's doing any of this stuff? Who? Please tag them so I can go and watch their videos and support them. That is trying to break down all this stuff for our community so we can be successful and move forward away from the old ways and the old deals to the new deals. Who is doing the work? had a crop circle on Sunday. And you would never believe what this crop circle was. It was a panning basket that the natives in California in 1848 would have used, not just any natives, the women who sorted the soot from the gold in 1848 at the gold rush, when the gold rush started in California. It was a panning basket. It was clearly a panning basket. I knew it when I saw it. Now, why do we have a crop circle on Sunday with a gold panning basket? Oh, because the 49ers were supposed to win. That was a message for me. I'm waiting for a crop circle this season to not be a direct message for me. I haven't seen one yet. All of them have been only things that I would understand and recognize. Several of them have been reminiscent of things that have to do with the indigenous people in this land. Why is that? Why is it that the land has to connect with our people from that place? Well, I have a theory. My theory is that there is a goddess there, specifically in South England, named Sulis. She is a sun goddess. And what this particular sun goddess does is she takes the petitions of people who are wronged, who are looking for justice. And near this latest crop circle is a place called VaT. It was a Roman bathhouse. It was a Roman bathhouse with Greek coins. So I'm also announcing that Greek is not those people in that country over there. Those are another group of imposters. Greek is like nigga. So Greek is a language that the niggas spoke. They don't understand it. They don't understand the language. They speak it, but they don't know what it means. They can't feel it. I hear this stuff in Greek and look it up, and I'm like, I know exactly what they're talking about. That's Black culture. Those people are Grecians from the land of Greece, but they're not Greek. Greek is the language that the niggas spoke. That's our language, not Hebrew. Hebrew was the language of the elites. They went from Hebrew to Latin. Greek was always the language of the people, the niggas. That's our language. So at this bathhouse in the south of England, they have this goddess. It's dedicated to this goddess Sulis. They don't know what the name means. They just know she's a sun goddess. And they have something there called curse tablets. And what would happen is if somebody stole something from you, you would take your petition to the goddess Sulis and you would ask her to torment this person until they gave you your stuff. So now we wait to see if she's going to respond. Because of course I've already asked. I'm not going to get on camera and tell you about something that I haven't tried. I've been doing this for 3 years. This is how I am. I want to know. If this is the answer, it's the answer. But guess what? I'm not putting it on here. Because there's too many people who take information and pretend like They got it. You can read the information all day and all night. It only makes sense to me because I read other stuff. While I was suffering, while I was down, I kept learning. I kept asking questions. I kept searching for answers to other questions. Now, certain things come along. I understand exactly what's going on. It's evident. It's clear. It's like, didn't you read this? Now, I told y'all what to read. When I was reading something, I said, hey, y'all might want to check this out. Oh, you should go listen to this. Oh, this. Oh, that. I have not failed to share the knowledge. But how many people, raise your hand, just thought I was crazy and I was making it up, and somehow whatever connection I had with the creator was not really as good as your connection. Everybody just knows better because look, you're getting results and look, I'm not getting results. I got an answer to an extremely dangerous ritual that I did almost 3 years ago immediately. Don't tell me don't tell me the creator's not listening to me. And of course he listens to those who listen to me, but there's a lot of people who didn't listen. There's a lot of people coming on my channel, seeing what I'm talking about, changing the numbers to make it look like nobody is watching, and then stealing the information. Particularly the professional victims unit. 1, 2, 3. Now we got 4. How many is the whole world professional victims? Is the whole world professional victims sucking at the teeth of the black woman and pretending like they're the glue? We're going to find out. This country is going to be nothing but a national, international, galactic embarrassment until they pay me my money and let my paperwork fly. Mine. I don't care about anybody else. This is not for everybody. This is for the people who are going to worship the creator in spirit and in truth. If you're working with these other gods, these other entities, you don't know their names, you refuse to do the work to figure out who is in your energy, this is not for you. We did the work. It takes work to figure out who is in your energy. 24/7, 365. You have to do the work. So no, it's not for you if you refuse to figure out who's in your energy. It's not for you if you refuse to lose in order to lose the world to gain your soul. It says it in the Bible. Plain English. I don't care about the world. I don't care about my soul and my creator. Who is that? What does it feel like? Not what is his name? What do I call him? I don't care. I don't care. I know one thing. I know who I'm talking about. I know what the energy feels like, and I cannot be tricked. No entity can step foot into my energy without my permission. At all. They can't even get close. That's why they got to communicate in crop circles, because they don't know where I am. They can't find me. The creator, he who dwells in the shadow of the Almighty shall abide. He who dwells shall abide. They can't find me. And the people who work with the creator can also not be found. Until you're up close and personal, you feel that fire. Then you're like, holy smokes. I know I'm in the presence of the creator's apple of his eye. And a lot of people have been working with entities they don't know who they are. And they refuse to ask the questions. Because, oh, well, it worked out before. Keep playing that game. Keep playing that game. Meanwhile, we're going to be over here getting results. With 1 viewer, 2 viewers, 3 viewers. I do not care. I know one thing. I have been suffering for 2 years and 3 months by myself. Nobody else suffered. Nobody else missed a meal. Nobody else was begging for money for 2.5 years. Nobody. And I didn't do it for myself or my family. I did it for our people so that our people could be free. Nobody did that. Nobody gave it up to do it for our people. But me. I don't care what nobody says. The results speak for themselves. The results speak for themselves. There's not much else to be said about that. The results speak for themselves. And you like it or lump it. So we're moving forward. We're not stopping. We're not slowing down. This train don't have no brakes, okay? We're moving forward. We have a lot of work to do. A lot of work has to be done. But the first step is you have to stop and say, acknowledge your wins. This was a huge win that they hid from me for 2.5 years. And therefore, my momentum went down the drain. My followers went down the drain. The direction I was headed, the trajectory went straight down. But luckily, this is a mountain. So as quickly as it went down, it can go straight up. And so I'm not worried about that. The foundation has been laid. And it's undisputable. Now let me tell y'all one more thing. Let's talk about these Ellis Island babies. Now I don't have a problem with anybody that come from Ellis Island. I don't have a problem at all. But I want y'all to understand. I want y'all to understand. Again, most of the people who came to this land from on Ellis Island specifically, but in general, as you hear in the Dum Diversas, they use that thing to do whatever they want. But the people who specifically came here via Ellis Island, and most white people in this country came here via Ellis Island, whether you know it or not, you have a Jewish heritage. You are Jewish by blood. Ashkenaz, okay? By blood. Therefore, you are not the tree. You are a branch off the tree. So a lot of these people are what? Catholic. Okay? So they've been grafted in. But understand, grafted in does not make you a replacement for the tree itself. You've just been grafted in. And a lot of you all have crossed the line. America, as a country, as a continent, was called America before you showed up. We were industrialized before you showed up. We were a country and a nation of people before you showed up. We had a system of government before you showed up. And that's evident if you look, and not in Houghton Mifflin or any of these people's writings about the book. You have to actually talk to the people. And you got to read your Bible because it's in there. Our story is in there. And everywhere that I look, I see our story. Especially, like I said, in the Greek version, because the Greek was our written language. We spoke English, we wrote in Greek. Just like PBR wrote his books in multiple different languages. That is something that we constantly did. That is how we operated. We would always communicate with the people in the language that they spoke where they are. And guess what? A lot of people in these other lands wrote Greek. They spoke Greek. So we spoke Greek to them. This is why, again, the translations don't make any sense to these people because they don't. It's not our people translating it. It's them translating it. And when they translate it, they don't understand our culture. And when I say our culture has not changed, one iota. We are the same people today as we were 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. We're the same exact people. Our culture is exactly the same. Technology is different, but the people are the same. We are the same people. This is Romans 11, verse 16 from my Orthodox Study Bible. For if the first fruit is holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root is holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches were broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them became a partaker of the root and the fatness of the olive tree, do not boast against the branches. But if you do boast, remember that you do not support the root, but the root supports you. You will say then, branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well said. Because of unbelief, they were broken off. And you stand by faith. Do not be haughty, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, he may not spare you either. Therefore, consider the goodness and the severity of God. On those who fell severity, but toward you, goodness. If you continue in his goodness, if you continue in his goodness, otherwise you also will be cut off. And they also, if they do not continue in unbelief, will be grafted in. Will be grafted in, for God is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a cultivated olive tree, how much more will these, who are the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I do not desire, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own opinion, that blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles has come in. And so all Israel will be saved. As it is written, the deliverer will come out of Zion. He will turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant with them when I take away their sins. Concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sake. But concerning the election, they are beloved for the sake of their fathers. For the gifts and this calling of God are irrevocable, and not to the Ashkenaz, the grafted in. Not even grafted in, okay? To the natural branches. It says natural in here several times. It's nothing natural about those people. Nothing. Brown eyes are natural. Why? You know why you need brown eyes? To look at the sun. You know why you need brown skin? To sit in the sun. You know why you need black hair? Sun. You know why you need milk? The calcium for the sun. That's natural. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. For as you were once disobedient to God, yet have now obtained mercy through their disobedience, even so, these also have now been disobedient, that through the mercy shown you, they may also obtain mercy. For God has committed them all to disobedience, that he might have mercy on all. That's the point. The point of this is for people to turn back to the Creator, to turn away from their foreign gods, to turn away from themselves as God, and turn towards the Creator, the the one who created the heavens and the earth, the land on which you live, the water which you drink, the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky that you look at for times and seasons. He turned all to disobedience so that all may gain forgiveness. But you are not the natural tree. It's a wild olive tree versus a cultivated tree. If you if you come from a cultivated bloodline, not a wild bloodline that just do whatever, out here whatevering, the wild bloodline, and you beg to be grafted into the wild bloodline, do not get grafted into the wild bloodline and then imagine you are the actual wild tree. That's not true. What did it say? You literally do not contribute to the roots of the tree at all. You don't contribute to the roots of the tree. You're just sucking at the teat of the black woman. Literally drinking from the water from the roots of the tree because you're grafted in, drinking from the water from the roots of the tree while thinking, oh, my roots go that deep. No, they don't. No, they don't. You are grafted in. Everybody needs to get in their place. Enough of this, what these people have been doing. I've had enough. Get in your place. Or what do they say? Shut up and dribble. You are a circus clown here. Entertain me. That's what y'all did to our brother Samson, isn't it? Did you not tell him, hey, your eyes are out? Do a little jig for us. And what happened? He killed 5,000-6,000 of y'all in one push. And that's where we're going. A lot of people are going to have to be eliminated if you keep pushing us. We're not dancing anymore. No more song and dance. No more kumbaya. No more happy-go-lucky, joy. All of that is done. Shut up and dribble. Honor our contracts. Restitutions are in order. And remember your position. You're not the tree. You got grafted in. You came to this country as with nothing. You're not going to leave this country with anything. It's going to be nothing. And you pushing us into Samson. The Samson option. I've heard that mentioned by some people. I don't think they know what it means. I don't think they know who Samson is. You're pushing us to the Samson option. And I suggest you stop. Now, I know none of these Ashkenaz, Ellis Island babies are going to hear this. But I'm telling you, you are pushing it. This is not your country. This is not your land. You live here. You're an occupant. Actually, technically, you're a squatter, squatting on our land, because you cannot own the land. You have no rights to it. You never did. That's all fraudulent. All fraudulent. And therefore, it's been negated. 2023, March the 7th. Acknowledged by the Vatican, March the 30th, 2023. You're on borrowed time. You best act like it. All these Hebrew Negroes and the rest of the Negroes out here acting like they know anything about anything that's going on, shut up and sit down and learn something. Because the Creator can cut you off too. And perhaps that's what's necessary. Because y'all are not acting in very good taste either. What y'all are out here doing to our women is unacceptable. I don't want to hear any more Hebrews talking about women can't lead, women can't preach. I found 4 sun goddesses. Y'all said that's a man. I found 4 sun goddesses all over the world. Does the sun not give you your instructions? Does the sun not wake you up? Does the sun not tell you to go to sleep? Does the sun not tell you what the weather is going to be? If it's hot, if it's cold? You take instructions from women all day. I don't want to hear it. A woman can preach just as well as a man. The sun preaches all day, just as well as the moon does, which is the masculine energy, which hides. It needs a break. The sun never takes a break. Never. Never goes retrograde. Never stops shining. That's what our women are. And you're jealous. I don't care. Your time's up. It's over. I don't want to hear it. Because until you can show me proof like this, that you did something that the Vatican responded to, shut up. Shut up. Obviously, your magic's not working. So you might want to take some advice from the one who's been out here giving it away for free. Making sure all of our people go in the right direction. With love and kindness. But we play both sides here. I'm going to give you love and light. But sometimes we got to go talk to Lilith. Because she the one who knows. She knows how y'all are. That's why she had to leave Adam. He just couldn't get it through his thick head how to do things in a certain way. So she's like, deuces. I got to move on. Because this man ain't getting it. Make him a wife that's like him. A bobblehead, okay? Not that Eve was a bobblehead, Kava. No disrespect to our mother. Sometimes you got to come with the dark, okay? And you got to remind people who you are, okay? You have to remind people who you are and what you can do. So, you out here doing magic against me, I suggest you stop. If you out here doing magic at all, I suggest you stop. Because unless you want to have your magic backfire on you, like those people in Texas, like those people in North Carolina again, getting hit, you might want to stop. I'm just saying. Because enough is enough. So, shalom, peace and blessings, and we'll see you in the next video.